Welcome to the Public Healthpreneur Podcast, Jometra. I am so excited to be having this conversation with you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, the listeners know a little bit about you and viewers know a little bit about you, but I just wanted you to give us maybe a 90-second introduction to yourself and your business.
Sure. So, again, my name is Jometra Hawkins Sneed. I am the CEO and founder of Equity Bridge LLC, a health and racial equity consulting firm. With that, I bring on lots of different hats. I'm also the co-chair of the board for the African American Health Coalition. I'm also the um, assistant presiding officer for the Texas CHW Advisory Board. I do a lot of work in the community. Community engagement is my favorite. I want to be able to teach and help the community thrive. I'm a lupus warrior and I have my own ailments, but I don't ever want anyone else to suffer the way that I suffer. So, with the work that I do, I want to bring education, I want to bring resources. I want to figure out how can we really affect the social determinants of health where people don't have to worry about those issues because of the resources, information, tools that Equity Bridge and all of the organizations that I work with provide directly to the community.
I love it. I love it. And I would say if someone said, describe Jometra Hawkins Sneed in just, a couple of words, I would definitely say expert community engagement. That is your thing. And I think in the book you refer to yourself as a community health translator. I love that so much. So you are one of the co-authors of our new book, Public Health Entrepreneurship: Navigating the Intersection of Purpose and Profit. So I'm going to throw kind of a question in here. I'm going to stick this question in. You didn't even know about this one. When I approached you about this opportunity to write about your experiences as a public health expert and entrepreneur, why did you say yes to me?
My goodness, this is an amazing story to tell. Literally on a Tuesday, I got down on my knees and I prayed to God and I said, it is time for my voice to be heard in a different way. And I wanted to write a book. And I talked about the different things that I wanted to talk about, which was my lived experience, how I've been able to create this amazing business and opportunity to thrive, and then also wanting to express the way that I felt about public health and the way that things could really be changed and made a difference in community health workers and all of that. That was on a Tuesday. On a Thursday, I received a phone call from Quisha saying, "Hey, I got this book. I don't know why I didn't think about you. Would you like to be a part?" And absolutely answered prayer in less than 48 hours.
Uh,
So it was divine connection for sure because God heard me. He touched Quisha and said, "Hey, call Jo. She's perfect for this."
I love it. And you were perfect for it. I love every single co-author that is featured in the book. And I've said this to you all, it's like the perfect individuals that should be in this book. So thank you so much for taking me up on the offer and for blessing us with your story, your history, your background, and your lived experience. So not going to go too much into your educational background and your career because the readers can read that in the book. But I do want to ask, what's been your favorite public health position?
Ooh, that's hard question. That's a really hard question because in the beginning, I loved just learning and grasping and getting information. So, being a part of a caring safe place as the executive assistant there, supposed to be filing papers. I was
Mhm.
supposed to be taking calls, but I was actually in the room with those public health educators, learning and getting information and understanding how to interpret the message of public health to individuals. So that was really a great job for me to learn and grow and get to the place where I am now. But I will say I thoroughly enjoyed my job at Baker Ripley as a community developer. And I will tell you, It was one, because of the community that I was serving, and two, because of the staff that I was leading.
Mhm.
Um, they all had a mindset of wanting to help the community in any way. And even though this job was not strictly public health led, it really was.
Yeah.
It was community engagement. It was partner relationships. It was developing opportunities for people to grow and learn. We had second language Spanish education. We had karate for the kids. We had ballet for the kids. We wanted to make sure that there was a wide variety of activities and things that people could learn and grow from that also helps to affect the social terms of health. So you're thinking about low income individuals that are coming to this place to really get some good stuff that they can take back home, whether it's rental assistance, whether it was I think it's called Storm Zuri, or Uri, Storm Uri that came through. We had assistance for that, Hurricane Harvey assistance, or even coming in because I just want to learn more about my community, or I want to learn more about how to manage my blood pressure, or how to get fit. We had yoga classes and all of these different things.
Love
So it
it.
was really exciting to lead an initiative like that, have a staff that was committed to making sure we were providing better opportunities for the community, and then even work in a space where everyone wanted to see progression and move forward.
Oh, I love that. That takes me back to my days working at the health department in Houston, and certainly Baker Ripley was one of our partners. Loved working with them. They did awesome work, the same, similar to the work that we were doing. So I'm not going to even go there, but I get all the feels, and I totally understand where you're coming from, having done that work. And I'm going to tell you, when you have a team that they move from their heart like you do, and they have a heart for community and community development and community engagement. Oh my goodness, it's just nothing like it.
And Quisha, let me tell you, that team was so eager to get things done. Literally, when I left that position, every one of the staff that I managed moved up. The one that was right under me, she moved into my role and expanded my role. The one that was under her moved up into her role and now is running the community center there. So it's like it was a great opportunity to not only learn about the community and get some good things going in that community, but it was also an opportunity for me to impart in those staff the
Yes.
the opportunity to grow, to learn what the possibilities are for their career, which is one of the reasons why I deem that as like one of my favorite jobs.
So leadership obviously is your jam too. I always say it's my jam. I actually did 1 year of a doctoral program to get my PhD in leadership. Um, One of the things I remember when I left nursing to be a chief nurse at HHD, and I was going through withdrawals. Like I was going through big time withdrawals. And really about the 6 month mark, I had to say, Quisha, look at all 15 of your staff, of your team members as your patients, or as
Mhm.
you pour into them, and then they're going to go and pour out into the community, into the zip
Absolutely.
codes, into the city, into the county. And so I had to reframe rather my way of thinking about, okay, I just need to pour everything I can into these individuals. And just like you said, they have grown, they have gone into different positions. I mean, it was just a wonderful time. I could talk about that all day, but let's get back into these questions. So I love that. So if you could look back to one pivotal moment in your life that led you to where you are today, one moment, what's that pivotal moment?
This is hard to talk about.
Oh,
So I knew that it was time for me to leave one of my positions, and I didn't want to leave. Um, the salary was comfortable. I was comfortable in the role. I had created such um, a great opportunity to advance and do some wonderful things. And God had already told me it was time to move, but I was stubborn. And He removed me. He
wow.
removed me. And I sit back and think about that and the time frame that I had the opportunity to just sit there and bask in what I had done, where I had been, how I could move forward. And I knew at that point that there was more to what I needed to be doing outside of someone else's organization. Literally, the other day, I posted on Facebook that I wanted to thank all of those organizations that I was a part of because they helped me to get where I am. And in that role, I knew that I had reached my peak. I knew that I had gone to the highest that I could, and I had gained all the resources and knowledge that I needed to. And I needed to move on to a new adventure. And when I really figured out that new adventure was my own brand, my own opportunity to flourish and take the ideas and the workings and the findings that I did with these other companies to build their brand, Joe, you can do it for your own. And I started to think about that. I have the communications background. I call myself a little bit of a graphic designer, so I can pull off graphic design. I have the community relation opportunities. I know so many people in the industry that need this type of work or need this type of help. I've been able to really execute programs and strategies and all of that across not even just Houston, but across the nation. And I knew that there was more to me than being someone else's employee. And I was like, you know what? I got to follow this dream. But before I followed that dream, I went and got more education in other industries because I
Ah,
thought that that would really help me to bolster what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So I went to Baker Ripley and I got more community engagement. I understood on the ground what it felt like to work directly with the community without a middleman in between.
mm,
And then I went to Harris County Public Health as an executive fellow, learning about government, how you get through the red tape, how do you have conversations with government entities, what does their working structure look like? How can a consultant really help in these arenas? And after I was able to get that experience, I knew it was time for me to take my own journey.
oh, so many things I could say there. First of all, you said you used the word peak. I'm going to use the word pinnacle because I know there's someone watching or listening and they've been in public health and they've probably climbed the ladder as far as the ladder goes. And they're saying, I've reached the pinnacle. What's next? What do I do
Right.
now? And so I love how we kind of both had this epiphany. And I think, most, especially public health entrepreneurs have had this epiphany. You said something that resonated with me as well. You knew you wanted to go into business for yourself like a few years before you even took the leap. And
Right.
I remember when I was at the health department and I transitioned to the state to take a position, it was a $13,000 pay cut because, I mean, it's the state, right? They don't pay the
Did the
best.
same thing. I did the exact
You
same
did the
thing.
same. That, listen, people, sometimes you have to take a step back. That step back is a setup for a come up. I'm
I
telling
took
you,
a $13,000 pay cut. I did. I did. I did.
run it. And I remember because this position was diabetes nurse consultant. That was the title. And I thought, I want to be a consultant anyway. I'll take this position and I'll see what consulting really is.
Hmm.
And once I got to the state and I was doing consulting, which in public health you call it technical assistance, I'm like, this is it. This is
Hmm.
this is consulting. So same kind of revelation as same thought process of, well, let me go here and get a little bit more educate, real world education. And when you said
Hmm.
education, I
On
thought
the
you were
job
going to
training.
school. You got OJT, absolutely.
On the
I
job
love
training.
that. And so for you and I, our journeys or our leaps into entrepreneurship, it was not like we lost a job, we were laid off. It was very strategic,
Very.
very strategic. And I'm going to go here and do this, and then go here and do that. And then I'm going to take the leap of faith, right?
Yep.
After having an exit strategy and plan. So I love that. So wonderful. Next question. And you kind of talked about this. The next question was, when did you realize that public health entrepreneurship was a realistic option for you? Do you want to kind of hit on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, of course, I knew, and this was probably 2019. I knew that it was a reality that it could happen, but I didn't know that it could happen for me. And
Ah,
it was in the back of my mind that yes, you can do this. You can go and do it. Like anything's possible. But I still had my doubts. Still had my doubts
Mm.
about my lived experience, still had my doubts about my health condition, still had my doubts about furthering the opportunity to explore this dynamic world of entrepreneurship. And that was 2019. But in 2021, I said, you know what? I am doing this work. As an executive fellow, I thought I was coming in to learn from them.
That's when you were at Fuse.
This was when I was at
Okay, because
Fuse.
so Fuse, she talks about her experience at Fuse in the book, so we're not going to go into it. But please give us more background about how you thought you were coming in to learn from them.
So I had a great opportunity to work in the COVID division at Harris County Public Health. It was an opportunity from Fuse, which is a nonprofit organization that works with government entities to bring in community-based folks that have the experience, they have the education, that have the ways to really make a difference in the community. And this project was really focused around COVID interventions. This was 2019, 2020, 2021 area. And with that, I was able to go into this job thinking, hey, I'm about to learn. And I was going to learn under my public health hero, Gwen Sims. She is absolutely my public health hero. And I got an opportunity to sit under her for a little bit and learn from her. But as I started doing the work, and as I started getting like in the nitty gritty of things, I was like, the way y'all doing this ain't right.
I love it.
Basically said it exactly like this. The way y'all doing it ain't right. Just thinking about community engagement the way that I know is very effective, they weren't doing that. The way that I knew programs should be implemented and the success rate that I've seen programs being implemented, they didn't know how to do that. So
Wow.
I was able to come in and create programs, create initiatives, create diverse connections within the community that allowed us to grow and flourish. And it became a really great opportunity to show can be a consultant. I'm
Mhm.
consulting the scheduling team. I'm consulting the COVID team. I'm consulting the epidemiology team. I'm consulting the mobile units. I'm
Mhm.
working and working and doing all of these great things where I could do this for myself.
Yeah.
Like I could literally go out, find contracts to help people, one, get organized, two, create a strategy that works, and three, talk about how implementation can adjust and move and make sure that it is right for the target population that they're serving. So it just dawned on me in that moment, girl, go out and do this on your own. So in 2022, April 2022, my contract hadn't ended quite yet with Fuse and Harris County Public Health. I went out and got my my DBA and my EIN,
Mhm.
my doing business as and my
Oh my God.
employee identification number. And I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this full time. And at that point, I was like, I'll do it part time and figure out how to make it work. And then when that contract ended, I was like, going to make it work.
Going to
Like,
make it
let's
work.
go
That's
out and
it.
start searching. And literally, that's how things came into play.
I love that. I want to talk about mindset for a little bit because I talk about mindset in the book. I want to point out that Jo said when she had made up her mind that she wanted to do it, she went out and got her DBA, her doing business as. I went out and got my DBA. I know the day. I got my DBA October the 5th, 2019, because I
Wow.
didn't have the $300 to get the LLC at the time. But I had such a made up mind
Hmm.
that I'm about to start this business and there is no going back from this. I don't know if it was the county or where I went to the office. I was living in Austin, Texas at the time. I went and paid, I want to say 10, 11, $12, whatever it was, and got my DBA. And I called one of
Hmm.
my best friends, Catherine, and I told my husband, 5 years from now, y'all are going to look at me and say, Quisha, you did it. Because
Yes.
I had that, because it was like you, it has to work or it has to work. Those are my only
Hmm.
two options. It has to work or it has to work. So I love that you were like, I'm gonna get this DBA and I'm gonna make it work. I love,
That
love, love
EIN was free.
and the EIN was free. That's right. I love it. So to date, what has been the thing that you're most proudest of as far as your accomplishments as a public health entrepreneur?
I am super proud of just me and being able to manage something like this. I'm a mother of five. They're
Wow.
all over the age of 18, but four of them live with me. So I
Wow.
still manage a household of children. I'm
Wow.
newly married,
Wow.
and
Congrats.
juggling, thank you, juggling two households right now. He has a place, I have a place. So juggling those two households and managing a business. So
And lupus. You
out
mentioned lupus.
and lupus and all of my volunteer efforts. I volunteer with the Lupus Foundation of Texas. I volunteer with the African American Health Coalition. I volunteer at the state level. I volunteer at the local level. Like there's so much
I'm tired
volunteering.
just listening.
Yes, and I'm always on the go, but it's the life that I've always had of wanting to do more, wanting to learn more. And when you're out and about and in the community, you are the ear to the street. You have the most current data that you can bring back to all of the projects and all of the work that you do because you have firsthand knowledge of what's needed or what they don't want or what they've been getting or how they feel about things. So being able to take that, put it into the work that I'm doing to talk about community engagement. Hey, they don't want you to come when you just got a grant. They want you there
Right.
all the time. They don't want you to just come and be like the savior of the universe. That's not what they're asking for. They're not asking for a handout. They're not asking for you to do something extra for them. They're asking for the education. They're asking for the knowledge. They're asking for the information where they can actually do better and thrive within their community without a handout, but with the
Self-sufficient.
education and information that they really need. So that I am so proud of the way that I've been able to manage this business, and not only manage this business, but also manage my life. And I will tell you, since I've started this business, I've traveled more
Yes.
for leisure
Oh, for leisure. I was gonna say it's okay for leisure.
than I've ever
Yes.
done in my life
That's
because
wonderful.
I've structured my business in such a way where I work at this time. I'm not working at this time. And I have that freedom and liberty to say I am Monday through Friday 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Or you know what, I'm taking this week off. I'll let all my clients know that I'm taking this week off and projects will resume X, Y, and Z. I
Mhm.
have that liberty, I have that freedom to be able to do that as an owner, as a entrepreneur. Have the opportunity to say, hey, there is work life balance. I'm going to create it and I'm going to maintain it. And this is how I'm going to do it. And I've been very successful in
Oh, I
doing
love
that.
that. I haven't been the best, but I this just reminds me of something my son said to me yesterday. So I was in my pajamas. I was in the office, and at the end of the day, he was like, "Oh," because he's home for spring break. He says, "I forgot you're off on Mondays, Mom." And I said, "I'm not off on Mondays." I said, "I have minimal Mondays." So minimal Mondays means I work from my pajamas. Whether I stay in the bed on my laptop, which I should do, or whether I'm here at the office, I don't take any meetings. I'm just kind of tinkering. Maybe I'm doing some social media posts, whatever. So I have minimal Mondays and then I have free Fridays. So we don't work at all in 2024. We don't work at all, me or my team, on Fridays. And we put
Good
our out of
job.
office reply on. We do all of those things. So my husband also is remote. He's upstairs, I'm downstairs. And one of the things that we have said we are going to do is pleasure. And I'm getting this word from your
For
chapter.
me,
I'm getting this word. Yes. So it's spring break, and of course we didn't go anywhere because we're doing the book launch now. But we said as soon as the book launch, we're throwing our laptops, we're throwing our screens because he works in IT in the car, and we're gonna be on somebody beach for a week. And we may work, we'll work when we want to, and we want we and but you don't have the freedom to do that, or we
in a
didn't
nine to
have that
five,
freedom to
yeah,
do that when we were working. um
especially in public health.
Especially. in public health. So tell the listeners and the viewers, what's Bleasure?
So pleasure is business and pleasure. And I've had the opportunity to go to different states on business. And most times in my contract, they're paying for it.
That's right.
And then I get the opportunity to extend my stay.
Yep.
So this last year for my birthday in December, I wanted to go and see The Wiz in Chicago on Broadway. I had the opportunity to do that. But what was crazy is I told one of my clients that I was coming that way, and they were like, wait, you're just an hour and a half away from us. Could you come here too? And I
Mhm.
was like, yeah. So I spent the weekend in Chicago with my husband. We went to go see The Wiz. We had an amazing time in Chicago.
Wow.
Drove down to Michigan for my meeting on that Monday. And guess what? Because I had that meeting on that Monday, that became travel to that organization. So I was
Absolutely.
able to bill that to the organization for that Monday meeting. And
Absolutely.
a lot of times I don't know that people really understand how you can kind of extend your stay or create pleasure within that. Because again, I had a meeting at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with that organization. But after 3 p.m., what
It's
did
your
I do?
time. It's your,
It is
so
my
guess what?
time.
Come on, husband. Come on, son. We do the same
Exactly.
thing. Or if they're booking my room, I'll say, give me two queens or give
Mhm.
me a suite as opposed to just one king. And I will do that before I even say, hey, babe, you want to go to Florida? Hey, you want to go on this trip? Just because, like you, I'm going to capitalize as much as I can. And
See,
sometimes,
I've had the pleasure of booking my own room and then
I'll say,
being able to invite who I
being
want
able
to
to do
invite.
that, I love it. I love it. So those are just some of the perks. And now don't get us wrong. It's not
No,
all pros, right? There,
no.
I always say when it comes to entrepreneurship, the highs are high and the lows are low. So
Lows are low, baby.
I want to talk about that. So tell me, what are some woes? Because we talk about the wins of entrepreneurship a lot. So what are some woes of entrepreneurship for you?
I'd say the woes of entrepreneurship, which is something that we just discussed, is when you're in between contracts and when you're trying to develop more business opportunities. You have to work really hard, and guess what? You're working hard with no paycheck.
Yeah.
So that's something that you have to really keep in mind, that you have to make sure that you are working outside of the work that you're doing. You're making sure that your business can continue to flourish with more contracts, with more opportunities to engage. And not only that, I think another woe is when you do engage those contracts and you have them on the chopping block, don't put too much on your plate.
Mhm.
At this point, I am a one woman show, but
Mhm.
I have some amazing friends and partners that have come alongside me. And I want to shout out Shalonda Tucker, and I want to shout out Shantae Finner. I used to work with these girls at the American Heart Association, and they have become my lifetime friends and
Mhm.
public health consultants. And they have been able to come alongside me when I ask them for help, when I want them to do things. I said, okay, now invoice me.
Yeah.
And they'll say, no, I'm not doing, yes, invoice me because you have just
You're
been a
so hilarious.
consultant for my business. So I want to shout out those two ladies because they've been ride or die with me, and they've helped me to manage when it was a heavy load, and they helped me to manage when there was some extensive projects that I really needed some consulting and help with.
Oh, I love that. It's just one, I've done the same thing with two people that I used to work with that are near and dear. I mean, they're almost like family, right?
Absolutely.
They were direct reports, and then I left the organization, and now, yes, oh my God. And so I've been able to do that as well. And they do the same thing. Oh, we're just gonna help. We're not gonna, no, you're gonna invoice me. You're gonna
Right.
invoice me because you're doing consulting work. So I love that. And I love the fact that, oh, do you hear that feedback? I thought I
Mm-mm.
heard some feet. Okay. I love the fact that you realize when you need to reach out because you're not, like you said, you are a team of one. I have a small team. I've got a training director. I've got I call it adjunct instructor or part-time instructor. I've got a couple of VAs as well. But let me tell you one of my woes, and it just scares me to death. I was saying this to my husband, and I'm just keeping it real. If y'all watching and
Yeah,
listening, this is entrepreneurship. What
absolutely.
happens? What if something happens to me? What if I
Mhm.
die? How do the invoices get paid? How does my team get paid? How does the work get done? How are people notified? Because I don't
Yeah,
have an operations person. I don't have an
right. We
assistant.
don't have HR.
I don't have the HR, right? I'm the HR. You talked about being graphic design. I'm pretty spiffy with Canva as well. Those are
Right.
so another woe is there are so many hats that you wear, especially initially on in entrepreneurship. And even though, as you make more money and as you start to grow, I thought I wanted this big, huge organization and like this big, huge firm of consultants in different specialties. Now my goal is to stay small and profitable. That's the goal. Stay small and profitable, get a good team of consultants and just have my small team. But there's still so many things that you have to think about and put into process and plan because you're not just working for someone. You just can't show up and clock in like you could back in the day. All right, so I'm going to ask you about three more questions, and they're going to wrap up this interview, which is so good, so good. Um, when people think of or hear your business name, what do you want them to think? What legacy do you want to leave behind with Equity Bridges LLC?
That's a really good question. And I actually sat down for a long time to figure out what my business name would be. And I wanted it to stand for something. I wanted it to stand out. I wanted it to really show what we do. And we are a bridge. We fill those gaps. We make sure that people are getting the resources that they need and equitably. It's not just something where we got a million of these and we're just giving out to a million people. No, we have tailored opportunities for specific audiences to thrive in their community. And that's really what I want Equity Bridge to stand for, to be that equitable resource within the community that bridges the gap between governments and institutions and the schoolhouse and the different places, the community centers and the nonprofits. We want to be that bridge in between to help folks really engage and understand the resources, the knowledge, the wealth of information that's available through these organizations straight to the community. That's another reason why I call myself the community translator, because I want to translate what they're talking about in the boardroom directly to the community. Because if we went in the community and said, hey, we're here to talk about the social determinants of health, and they're going to look at you like, what fool?
But yeah,
So I want to be able to talk about that in the community and be that translator. So Equity Bridge stands in the gap and fills that gap to be able to communicate directly to the community.
love it, love it. What are your favorite projects to work on and why?
I love strategy building. I am a think tank. I love to pull ideas out of people. So I have lots of questions all the time. I'm always listening to be able to add value to conversations. So being in strategic planning sessions, being a part of implementation is great for me. And understanding that we can take the words on a paper and put action to
Mm,
them and create sustainable models to continue to increase our positive outcomes of health in the community.
I love it. And I can attest to the questions and pulling things out of people just from how you facilitate your meetings and the meetings that
Oh,
I've been in with
absolutely.
you. I love it. What advice would you give to someone looking to enter the field of public health entrepreneurship or transition rather to public health entrepreneurship?
I would say do your homework. Understand the industry that you're getting into, understand the clients that you want to serve, and also understand where the information will live. I think
Mm,
it's important as when we create things and work with different organizations, we know where the outputs will land.
mm,
And also
yeah.
making sure that when your outputs land, they land and people understand and they're relevant to the audience that you're serving. So I really say make sure that you know your industry, you know who you want to serve, and you know the goals that you want to achieve for your specific business and your professional goals.
Oh, love it. Wonderful advice. And finally, how can businesses work with you?
Businesses can work with me in so many different areas. Of course, I said I'm a consultant in health equity, so I do create equity strategies. We talk through how you can be more equitable with the community that you're serving, making sure that this particular audience gets what they need in the manner that they need it and it's relevant to their specific area. But also, I can work in implementation opportunities. So, if there are research studies that want some community engagement or interaction, I am the perfect person to put there because I'm in the community every single day. I'm talking with community members, I'm having those different conversations. And not only that, I'm talking with community organizations to see where they are and what they do and what they need. So then to make that connection with other organizations to make sure that their resources are uncovered and rediscovered in those different communities.
I love it. And can you share with with the viewers and the listeners how they can contact you?
Absolutely. You can go to my website, which is equitybridgellc.com, or you can email me at joe@equitybridgellc.com, or you can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter or X, and then I'm also on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Jometra Hawkins. On LinkedIn, I'm also Jometra Hawkins Sneed on Facebook, or you can even find Equity Bridge on all of those platforms as well. Equity Bridge LLC. So at Equity Bridge LLC for Twitter, for Instagram, and then Equity Bridge LLC on LinkedIn and Facebook.
I love it. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Joe. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Take care.
Bye, guys.